And hello, and welcome back to Team Peach's Dog Training and Education. We're coming from the big island of Hawaii, and we are on Hilo side, so that means a lot of rain and such, hopefully. But right now, we're kind of going through a drought. My name is Jean Pam, and I've been training dogs since 1969. I use all kinds of methods and techniques because I tailor everything I do with a dog to that dog. And not just I don't do the whole band-aid effect. What works with one dog may not work with another. And it depends entirely upon what the dog is like, their personality, and what their background is, and also their breed. I specialize in working with companion animals at this time due to my age, which at the time of this video is 68. Yep, I'm 68 years old, folks, and I am still active and such. I don't move as well as I used to. I weigh a little bit more than I used to. Okay, well, I weigh a lot more than I used to, but I'm still training dogs, and I want to share my knowledge with you. So let's start off with what we're doing today. I have 7 dogs that are in my family pack. And training a pack and working with a pack is very different than working with a single dog. I work with each of one of my guys as individuals, but also as a pack, and the mentality is very different. Dogs learn from one another, so what I you may see occasionally in a video, I may come down very hard on one dog, but the others are watching and learning. If I allow a behavior that could possibly lead to something bad, such as bolting out of the car door, you try to control 7 dogs bolting out of a car door. You got to stop the behavior, or they say, nip it in the bud. You got to stop it before it becomes a behavior. Because with dogs, movement, they're highly sensitive to movement, and all of your training is going to be overridden as soon as that movement takes place. One dog moves, and they're all gone, and they follow one another. And no amount of sound and such, for the most part, not always 100%, but when you're dealing with the pack, the dog's no longer here because now that what's called pack mentality has kicked in. So working with dogs like this is very different. Also, all of my dogs have been previously abused, and they've been neglected, and they have been feral. And so I've taken dogs with a different type of mentality. They did not grow up in healthy, happy homes, where we just have dog parents who don't really know what they're doing. This is a whole other scenario with my pack. So what I do with my pack would not be something I would be doing with your dog if I was working one-on-one with them. Okay, so please keep that in mind. I do use all sorts of tools such as prong collars and e-collars. I use martingale collars. I use halter leads. I use leashes, flat collars. I use my voice. I use touch in order to communicate clearly with a dog and help them understand what is being asked out of them. Sometimes it's not being asked. Sometimes it's a matter of, this is what we are going to do, period. You have no choice in this. You may not bite me. You may not jerk on your collar, because a lot of bad things can happen. A dog needs to be calm, relaxed, and focused when you're working with them. And in the beginning, if a dog is not accustomed to training, it can get kind of hairy. So please understand, if you see my videos and when I eventually am able to get to actual training videos, I will, if it seems a little uncomfortable, please understand I do know what I'm doing. Some of the old techniques are perfectly valid, and a lot of the new techniques are about people projecting human ideas and perceptions onto the dog. Understand, dogs are not human, my friends. I'm sorry, but they're not. They understand and perceive the world very differently than we do. They, as much as we would love to think of them as our cuddle buds and such, which they are, um, dogs are still dogs. And this is where a lot of the so-called scientific information goes very, very wrong. If more information is if the real details on a lot of the information, sorry about that, comes to light, you will find that a lot of the people who have written and done the studies negate on what they've said. Dogs are very simple animals in many ways. If their world is yes, no, on, off, safe, not safe, for example, hunger, not hungry, thirsty, not thirsty, yes, no, allowed, not allowed. Humans, on the other hand, are this much yes, this much no, and this huge amount of gray area. It's inferred. That is the way human minds process things. They fill in all the little bits of information. That is not the way dogs function. For dogs, for example, if you don't want them to do something, it is a clear no. It's not like, sweetheart, do this, sweetheart, do that. That's not how it works. It's simple. No. No means you're not allowed to do this. Yes means you are allowed to do this. If you're not saying no and being consistent about it, you are telling your dog yes. If you are petting your dog and giving them positive um, responses, a smile, petting it, scratching it under the chin, and talking baby talk to your dog, you are telling your dog it's okay to do whatever that last behavior was. And what I mean by that is this. For example, you want your dog to sit, but your dog is not sitting, and you're talking baby talk to your dog. You're trying to have a discussion with your dog. Wow. Well, you are telling your dog that it's okay not to sit. You're rewarding it for not doing what you want it to do. We reward our dogs in many, many different ways and, not even realizing it. Okay? So just do this. Make your sit mean sit. You don't have to discuss this with your dog. Your dog doesn't get it anyway. As I've said in another video, your dog does not understand English, Japanese, Greek, or any other human language. They really don't. Most dogs only understand between 60 and maybe 100 to 165 words, human words. In the American English language alone, unless something's been recently added, we're looking at 22,000 words that humans understand. Dogs don't understand. They figure out what you're trying to get them to do by the following things: your facial expressions, your body language, the tone you use, and also touch. Are you rewarding your dog for doing the very thing that you don't want them to do? Are you smiling at them and talking baby talk to them? Or, oh, you're such a good boy. No, you're not a good boy. You did not sit. Sit your butt down, then you're a good boy. You see, we don't need to have these long discussions with our dogs. Dogs are not human. Their brains are not designed for processing language. Do they understand more than what some of us think they do? Absolutely. Do they understand as much as we would like to believe that they understand? No. If you think of your dog basically as a learning disabled child, in many ways, that will help a lot. Your dog is not stupid by any means. They're not dummies by any means. They just simply do not understand. And once they understand, most dogs will be happy to comply. Now, you do have to take breed into consideration. For example, a lot of my dogs are hunting breed crosses, and that sometimes makes them rather difficult to work with, especially when the hunting and prey instincts kick in. And it happens sometimes. For example, when I'm bringing everybody out of the Jeep, we've just gone for a wonderful run at the doggy park, and guess what? They are still activated. And for some reason, I'm not catching all of it, or maybe I'm very tired. I leash up the dogs that are most likely to run, which is Daisy, Shay, and Prince. And once in a while, something will happen and somebody will take off. Well, there's only one of me, and I do suffer from extreme back pain. I have deformities in my back. You will see this in my videos because I walk odd. I have one leg shorter than the other, and therefore you will see this in my gait. And I'm also, because of my diabetes, I'm also overweight, and it's also due to my physical issues. So I'm not able to exercise as much as I once did. So please take that into consideration. But let's get back to the subject. So sometimes my dogs take off. And once that happens, that is their hunting and prey instincts kicking in. I live in the forest here on the Big Island, and we have a lot of wild pigs. And my dogs love going after the pigs, unfortunately. And once, like I said before, I'm repeating myself, forgive me, but once in a while something will go wrong. And they get loose. And, they do come back. They always come back, but I always worry very much about them. And then they get cleaned up. And what do I do when they come back? I praise them for coming home. Now that sounds strange. You praise your dog or you correct your dog for the last behavior that they did. Doesn't matter how upset I am, it doesn't matter how irritated I am, or how I stomp my feet and swear that I'm going to have dog roast for dinner once they come back. None of that matters. Because for your dog, for example, when my dogs take off and come back, the only thing they know is they came home. They know nothing of all the hours that I was worried about them. But they're home. You cannot punish a dog for such a thing. You have to praise them. They came home. Good job. Good come home. Something to think about. As I said, there are no gray areas. Your dog does not seek revenge. It's not the way their brains are wired. Your dog is not out to get you. Your dogs are not out to be purposely disobedient. They're disobedient because you have taught them not to obey. It's simple. Uh, some dogs are, there are a lot of dogs out there. For example, I have with Peaches, for example. She's a Border Collie and Jack Russell mix. Two of the smartest breeds in the world. Peaches, she's awesome and she's chill and everything. But then I have my other two who are Jack Russell and Pitbull, and that Jack Russell intelligence kicks in high with those two. One of them, their brother and sister, Bo and Jazz. Bo is much more bonded to me than what Jazz is. Jazz needs a lot more work. And it's just the way it is. I haven't had them very long, since September. And at the time of this video, I'm looking at November of 2023. Actually, this is November the 20th of 2023. So you see, I haven't had those two very long. They were feral when they came to me. They had very little, if any, positive human interaction. So considering that, these guys have come a long, 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 long way. So let's go ahead, and I just wanted to put that out to you. Please understand, this is the recap this. I use a lot of tools when I'm working with dogs. I tailor everything to that dog, their ability to learn, their breed, what their personalities are like, etc., etc. Also, every dog is absolutely different. Your dog is not out for revenge. Your dog does not have the capability of thinking that way. My dog is mad at me. No, your dog is not mad at you. Your dog is probably reacting to how you're going to respond, what they're anticipating your response will be to, okay, for example, real quick example. So doggy's been there, tore up your favorite shoes. Your dog thinks that the shoes have done something that you're very upset about. They are not, unless you catch them with the shoe in their mouth, your dog has no idea why you're yelling at it or why you're upset. You see, they have from what we understand, and the belief at this time is this: you have approximately 3 seconds, 1, 2, 3. That's it. For your dog to relate to their last action, for example, holding the shoe in their mouth and dropping it, to the next thing they do. They have 3 seconds before they've basically forgotten all about it. Whatever the thing is that they were doing, they just go on to the next thing. Humans, on the other hand, remember for days or months or even years that one moment when that dog was chewing up the shoe. Your dog has no recall of it. 3 seconds. If you don't react in 3 seconds, my friends, then you've lost. You've lost that window. Okay? So just to let you know. And the same applies for a praise. If your dog is doing something wonderful, don't hesitate. You've got 3 seconds to praise that dog for doing the thing that you want it to do. It's fast. You got to be on your toes about it. Timing is everything. I cannot overemphasize that. So this is kind of a long video. It seems like all my videos tend to be long videos, and I apologize for that. So let me go ahead and let it go. And as always, my friends, if you don't train your dog for good things, you cannot blame them for their bad behavior. We'll see you next time. And aloha from Hawaii.